Not life insurance. These 4 specialty policies the 1% buy before every reset. Welcome back to Wealth Architect. I'm Dr. Ben. You already know the script most people are still following. Save 10%, buy index funds, and wait 40 years for the retirement lottery ticket. That approach was never built for owners. It was built for employees. And when the next reset hits, and 2026 is already showing every sign of one, that script leaves people exposed, while the real architects move their capital into protected positions. Here, we don't guess. We study the exact blueprints the top 1% actually use to keep their families safe, their assets intact, and their freedom on track, no matter what the system throws at them. Today, we are going deep on 4 specialty policies that almost nobody in the mainstream financial media ever mentions. These are not the basic life or health policies you already have. These are the quiet, high-level tools that family offices and ultra-high net worth individuals activate months before every major economic shift. I'm going to name each one, break down exactly what it covers, show you real-world scenarios where these policies have paid out during past resets, walk you through the precise steps to put them in place, share the exact questions you need to ask your broker, and give you the checklists you can use this week. By the end of this episode, you will have a complete blueprint you can start implementing immediately. No fluff, no recycled advice, just the exact mechanisms the architects use so their capital keeps working instead of defending itself. Stick with me all the way through, because the 4th policy is the one that almost everyone overlooks, and it could be the difference between riding the reset with confidence or watching years of hard work get eroded in ways you never saw coming. Let's get into it. Kidnap, Ransom, and Extortion Insurance, K&R. We start with the most personal layer first, because your family's physical safety is the foundation everything else rests on. This is Kidnap, Ransom, and Extortion Insurance, K&R for short. Most people hear the name and think it only happens in movies or faraway countries. That's exactly why the 1% keep this policy quietly active. It is not dramatic insurance. It is quiet, professional risk transfer that activates the moment something goes wrong. Here is exactly what it covers. Full ransom payment up to your chosen limit, professional crisis negotiators on the ground within hours, secure extraction and repatriation, post-incident security upgrades for your family, psychological counseling for everyone involved, and even coverage for extortion demands that do not involve physical kidnapping, such as threats to release private financial records, photos, or business information unless you pay. Some policies now extend to digital extortion and threats against family members traveling abroad. Why do the architects activate or increase this coverage right before every reset? Because economic pressure always creates social friction. Crime rates climb, desperate actors look for high-value targets, travel patterns change, and high net worth individuals become more visible. We saw this exact pattern play out in 2008-2009 and again in 2020-2021. Family offices that had K&R in place reported incidents resolved quietly and quickly. Those without it faced months of uncertainty and higher personal risk. Let me share 3 real-world examples from my network. Names changed for privacy, details unchanged. First, a manufacturing architect with holdings across Latin America increased his K&R limit in early 2020. 6 months later, his daughter was targeted while studying abroad. The policy paid the negotiators, coordinated with local authorities through approved channels, and the situation resolved in under 48 hours with no media exposure. The family never had to liquidate assets under pressure. Second, a tech entrepreneur in Southeast Asia faced a sophisticated extortion demand in 2022. Hackers had obtained sensitive deal documents and demanded payment or they would leak them to competitors. The K&R extortion rider covered the response team and the entire resolution cost, 0 out of pocket. His business stayed on track.
Third, a real estate family office in Europe activated coverage before the last policy shift and used the post-incident security upgrade to install a complete family travel protocol that has prevented 2 subsequent threats. Now the practical part, how you actually get this in place. Step 1, find a specialist private client broker who works with carriers like Chubb Private Client, AIG Private Risk Management, or Lloyd's Syndicates that underwrite K&R. Do not use a standard auto and home agent. Step 2, prepare your risk profile. You will need to disclose international travel frequency, family member locations, net worth range, and any public visibility. Expect questions about private aircraft use, second homes, and executive protection needs. Step 3, choose your coverage limit. Most architects start at $5 to $10 million per incident and scale up based on family exposure. Premiums typically range from 0.5 to 2% of the limit, depending on your risk score. A $10 million policy might cost between $50,000 and $200,000 annually, expensive until you need it, then priceless. Quick win you can take today. Schedule a 15-minute call with a K&R specialist broker this week. Ask them for a no-obligation risk assessment tailored to 2026 volatility. Even if you decide not to buy, the conversation alone will sharpen your family protection thinking. That is policy number 1, your first line of personal fortress. Now we move outward to protect the actual capital you have built. Political risk insurance. Next layer, political risk coverage. This is the policy that protects your overseas investments, real estate, private equity holdings, and business interests when governments suddenly change the rules. Exact coverages include expropriation or nationalization of assets, currency inconvertibility, you literally cannot get your money out, political violence, including civil unrest and terrorism, and contract frustration caused by new laws, regulatory shifts, or regime changes. Many policies now include coverage for forced divestiture and supply chain disruption tied directly to political events. In 2008, we saw banks freeze cross-border transfers. In 2020-2021, we saw sudden restrictions on foreign ownership in multiple markets. The players who had this coverage received cash settlements, while others waited years in arbitration. 3 more real examples. One family office had significant commercial real estate holdings in an emerging market. When new capital controls were imposed during the last reset, political risk paid out the insured value within 90 days.
They reinvested the proceeds into domestic opportunities without missing a beat. Another architect with private equity exposure in Europe triggered the policy when a sudden regulatory change voided existing contracts. The carrier covered the financial loss and provided legal support that kept the rest of the portfolio intact. A third case involved a manufacturing supply chain disrupted by political violence. The policy covered both the physical assets and the lost revenue during the forced downtime. How to put this in place? Step 1. Work with the same high-net-worth broker you used for K&R. They already know your full picture and can bundle for better rates. Step 2. Provide a detailed asset schedule listing every overseas holding with current valuations, countries involved, and ownership structure. Step 3. Request country-specific endorsements. Coverage is priced per jurisdiction, so you can insure only the highest risk areas. Step 4. Choose policy term. 1 to 5 years is standard. Premiums run 0.75% to 3% of insured value, depending on the countries and asset types. A $20 million portfolio in higher risk markets might cost between $150,000 and $600,000 per year. Pro tip: bundle this with your existing property and casualty policies through one carrier. It creates a single claims point and often unlocks volume discounts. Action step right now. Pull together a simple spreadsheet of every asset outside your home country. Bring it to your next broker meeting. That single document will save you weeks of back and forth and show the underwriters you are serious. You now have personal safety covered and your overseas capital protected.
Let's move to the fastest-growing threat in the architect world. High net worth cyber insurance with extortion coverage. Third layer, comprehensive cyber insurance built specifically for individuals, families, and family offices, not the basic business version. This goes far beyond the free identity theft rider on your credit card. Full coverage includes ransomware payments, extortion demands, digital forensic investigation, legal defense costs, regulatory notification and fines, third-party liability lawsuits, credit monitoring for your entire family, and in many new policies, cryptocurrency wallet theft and digital asset recovery. Some carriers now add coverage for deepfake video extortion and AI-generated fraud. Why activate or upgrade this before 2026? Cyber attacks spike during economic uncertainty. Hackers target high net worth individuals because the payoff is larger and personal defenses are often less sophisticated than corporate ones. We are already seeing a rise in family office breaches and executive email compromises. Real stories. A family architect's spouse had her email compromised last year. The attacker demanded $750,000 or they would release private financial records and family photos. The cyber extortion coverage paid for the response team, negotiated the resolution, covered all costs, and kept the incident completely private. Another high net worth individual lost access to a self-custodied crypto wallet through a sophisticated phishing attack. The policy's digital asset recovery endorsement paid for the forensic experts and recovered the majority of the funds. A third case involved a deep-fake video created to impersonate the family patriarch, demanding immediate wire transfers. The policy covered the crisis response and legal containment before any funds moved. How to acquire it? Step 1. Ask your private client broker for ultra-high net worth cyber or private client cyber plus extortion products from Chubb, AIG Private Client Group, or Hiscox. Step 2. Complete the risk questionnaire honestly. It covers your devices, cloud services, email providers, family members' online activity, and any crypto holdings. Step 3. Request family-wide coverage and cryptocurrency endorsements explicitly. These are not automatic. Step 4. Set coverage limits at $5 to $20 million depending on your digital footprint. Annual premiums typically range from $5,000 to $25,000 for strong limits. Immediate action. Run a quick self-audit today. List every email account, cloud storage, and crypto wallet in the household. Bring that list to your broker. It becomes the foundation of your cyber fortress. You now have personal safety, overseas assets, and digital life protected. The final layer ties everything together. Reputation and crisis management insurance. The fourth and most overlooked policy, reputation and crisis management coverage. This pays for professional public relations firms, crisis communicators, legal defense teams, media monitoring, and stakeholder communication the moment your personal or family reputation comes under attack, whether from viral social media campaigns, regulatory investigations, deep-fake videos, activist pressure, or sudden negative press that threatens your deal flow and opportunities. Many policies even cover lost income directly tied to the reputational damage. In a reset year, social media amplifies everything. One headline or coordinated campaign can freeze partnerships and financing, even when you are completely innocent. The 1% treat reputation as their most valuable non-financial asset and insure it the same way they insure buildings. How it works. The moment a crisis trigger occurs, you call one number and an approved crisis firm is on the line within hours, not days. They handle messaging, legal containment, media relations, and long-term reputation repair. Real architect examples. One entrepreneur faced a coordinated online smear campaign during a major funding round. The crisis team that turned the narrative in under 2 weeks, preserving the deal. Another high net worth individual was targeted by regulatory scrutiny that made headlines. The coverage funded the response team that kept the story from spreading and protected the rest of the family's public standing. Another case involved a deep-fake video accusing a business owner of misconduct. The policy paid for forensic authentication and rapid counter-messaging that stopped the damage cold. How to get it? Step 1. Coordinate through your existing high net worth broker. They'll connect you with carriers that specialize in reputation risk. Step 2. Underwriters will review your public profile, business interests, board seats, and potential exposure points. Step 3. Choose limits starting at $1 million and scaling up. Premiums range from $10,000 to $50,000 annually, depending on your visibility. Step 4. Combine this policy with your directors and officers or umbrella liability coverage for seamless multi-threat protection. Action step right now. List every public-facing element of your life and business, social profiles, board positions, media mentions. Review it with your broker to identify coverage gaps. Synthesis and full fortress blueprint. You now have the complete stack. Personal safety through K&R, overseas capital through political risk, digital life through cyber, and public standing through reputation.
Coverage. The real power comes when you treat them as one integrated fortress instead of 4 separate policies. Use the same broker as your single point of contact, review the entire structure every 12 months, and always tie the policies back to your broader wealth architecture so that protection supports growth instead of slowing it down. Quick checklist you can implement this month. Book the broker meeting, bring your asset and risk lists, ask for bundled quotes across all 4 policies, set calendar reminders for annual reviews. This is how the architects stay calm when everyone else is panicking. They have already transferred the risks the system creates. That is the complete blueprint for the 4 elite insurance policies the 1% quietly activate before every reset. Which one surprised you the most? Drop the number in the comments. I read every single one and often reply to the best questions in future episodes. If you want the exact broker checklist, risk assessment template, and carrier contact list I use with my own network, comment the word blueprint below and I will send it to you within the next 24 hours. Remember, this is not financial or insurance advice. Products, terms, and availability change. Always work with licensed professionals who understand your complete situation. If you are serious about designing wealth that lasts through resets instead of hoping the old rules still work, hit subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and join the community of architects. A new blueprint drops every week. I'm Dr. Ben. You've been told the rules, now you know exactly how the game is really played. I'll see you in the next episode where we break down the next piece of the fortress. Stay protected, stay building.